What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the D.O.G podcast. As always, I'm True with German and OC. And this episode, we'll talk about why German's having a pretty good week and OC's not.
I like that one,
What
man.
a great,
I like it.
what a great intro.
I know, right?
Awesome intro. Intro of the year right there. You deserve an Emmy, dude.
Hey, whew.
Um, yeah, dude. Let's talk about the San Francisco Dolphins game, man. And OC, you were there in person. Go ahead, dude. Let's hear the critique about Tua's performance.
Well,
I just want to know where's the bag at?
I was
No
wearing a
bag?
Sunday. I was wearing a Sunday in there.
Okay.
Let's just go with what the national media is saying. They finally, after 6 weeks, got to say, "We told you so. We told you so" about Tua. He finally, he looked like the guy from last year that everybody was down on. He was missing throws. He was off on throws, and he just didn't look good at all. Brock Purdy obviously came in, took over, and outshined him to his credit. Um, but let's not take away from the fact that he was missing his left tackle, his All-Pro left tackle. His right tackle was gone, and then they were playing the number one defense in the league. So I mean, San Francisco did what they're accustomed to doing. Held Miami to under 20, and then they were able to sustain drives, and Purdy looked pretty good, moving up and down the field, doing what he had to do in place of Jimmy Garoppolo, who we thought was lost for the year, but turns out he might be able to be back by second round of playoffs, maybe championship weekend, something
Hopefully,
like that.
yeah.
So, so that's what I mean. After such a fast start, Miami got off to in that game. I was hyped, and then I got brought back down to earth in the second and third quarters. But I mean, it is what it is. Like, he wasn't gonna play great the whole year, but I mean, hopefully he has a bounce back game on Sunday night.
That's what I was gonna ask. Did your buzz kind of start to fade away after like the second or the third quarter? Like once we got into the fourth quarter,
The second drive when they went three and out, and I was just like, ah, damn.
you're like, that's it, it's over.
Yeah.
Um, no, yeah, it was a hot start for Tua. I mean, he threw a little out route and receiver went up the field, and not gonna lie, how kind of the same reaction that you had in the second quarter. I was like, ah, shit, dude, we're done. Um, because the DBs for the Niners aren't really all that great pass coverage wise, but they did exactly what I expected them to do, and that was just take away the run. And it's just Miami just decided not to run the ball at all there after the first quarter, which I don't know why. I feel like they would have had a little bit more success. But then I think it was just mostly just the turnovers that made Tua look way worse than he actually played. I don't think he played completely terrible because he still made some throws. Even I think the Miami's second touchdown, he still made some big boy throws, right? And then just had some bad luck with I think it was the fourth down throw outside to the tight end Gesicki, and he ended up just dropping it, which they all thought it was a catch, and we can clearly see in the replay that it was incomplete. And I think that was the turning point of the game. And then Boza comes in with a strip sack to pretty much just close out the game. But yeah, I think everybody was just looking at the chops for an opportunity to go ahead and just say, I told you so about Tua. It's just, everybody was just waiting for it, and we all kind of expected it to come at some point during the season. I guess against the number one defense, I guess it's right. But do you think it was more, it's just the pass rush up front just got to Tua in certain situations? Because it wasn't like he was running around for his life the whole game. But do you think it was just at those key moments?
Well, yeah, those critical third down and fourth down throws, that he was off on, and it had to do with, I think Eric Armstead played a big part in that, because
Right.
now instead of just having Bosa by himself, now you had to worry about Armstead, who was
Right.
getting the initial pressure, and his pressure led to a lot of Bosa's sacks and quarterback hits and pressures. So the timing was kind of thrown off. There was a couple times where we literally had a lineman running into our own running back on a blocking
Right.
scheme, and Tua is just trying to settle his feet to throw, and he has no one blocking for him. But crazy little stat that got posted earlier today. This is my second time seeing Tua at Levi's. The last time I seen him,
But that
he
was in the
got
Natty,
worked.
right?
The Natty, he got
Yeah.
worked by Trevor Lawrence and Clemson, and the stat line is kind of freaky because it's like, okay, so the national championship in 2019, he had 295 yards,
Mm-hmm.
8.7 yards per attempt, two touchdowns, two interceptions. Right on Sunday, he had 295 yards, 8.9 yards per attempt, two touchdowns, two interceptions.
Jeez.
Are you the bad juju, OC? Are
I
you
don't
are you
know.
I was
just?
I was
I
gonna
did.
say it was that San Francisco weather or that Bay Area weather, but maybe it is OC.
I think it's
I, I
OC,
I
man.
might just need to stop watching him when he comes to Levi's.
Because didn't he perform? Or no, I think it was the last time the Dolphins came to Levi. It was Fitzpatrick, right?
Yeah,
If I'm not mistaken. And
yeah,
Tua
that's
didn't
during.
play at all. Yeah,
No, it was that COVID year. No fans were allowed.
right.
So if OC goes to the game in LA this weekend and Tua puts up a similar stats line and takes the L, then it's OC.
Then it's OC.
Yeah,
Then it's
it
OC.
might be me.
What is it? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Yep.
Tua's got to learn his lesson, dude, and stop coming to Cali. Just
I
stay out
know.
of here. This is OC's area.
Come on, dude.
It's not humid enough over here for him.
Drew, from a neutral standpoint, man, what did you see? Do you think the Niners just played like great and offensively, defensively, or just Miami just not expect what was coming?
Um, my viewpoint is I was pulling hard for Tua and Miami. I like what they're doing. Tua's been hot, but you can't be hot every single game that you play this year. It's not how it is. We're never going to get that 72 Dolphins again that go undefeated and win every single game. And Tua was on that track, going to win every single game that he started and finished, excluding the two games that he didn't play and the game he left at around halftime for injury. What was that?
The game that Tua left, or is
Oh, you're doing
is that inappropriate?
you're
My bad.
doing the
Go ahead,
hand.
continue.
I couldn't see it. It was like kind of cut off a little
Oh,
bit,
my
so I
bad.
thought you were like signaling to me.
Yeah.
So I just think that he just didn't have his best day. He didn't do terrible, but he didn't do great. And against that defense, you kind of got to do great. You need to do better than good. OC talked about it. The Niners dominated the line, and it's something that the Cowboys are doing very well this year too. They're dominating the line, and if you can stop the run and force the quarterback to pass, and your best aspect is pass rush, then you're gonna win a game, and that's really what the Niners did. They put two under a lot of pressure and forced a couple of wild throws that we really haven't seen do this year. I mean, I was watching him overthrow people, underthrow people. It was very unto alike. And I just think that every once in a while in the NFL, you're going to have a game where you don't play up to your standard, and that was one of them. And I think the Niners played to their standard. They
Right.
played to everything that they've been working on. And Purdy came in and just said, got to do what Jimmy does. 5-yard slant, hand the ball off. 5-yard slant, hand the ball off. Not that tough.
Now that was the next thing I wanted to go through and talk about the other side of the ball for the Niners. Do you think it was just? Do you think Kyle Shanahan is that much of a genius where he draws plays up that are very quarterback friendly, where they ran a majority of the game, right? I mean, it's not like the offense was moving the ball like they did a few weeks before, because I mean they had a good field position, right? Like I think they off the two interceptions, they only got 6 points out of both of those interceptions. So it's not like they were moving the ball completely downfield. There was some certain situations where they were able to move the ball because they opened it for the run, but Purdy was making some pretty nice throws, especially on like third down situations, right, where it just mattered the most. Do you think it's just Kyle Shanahan's offense is just drawn up that way, or do you think Purdy just came up and stepped up?
I think it's a combination of both. I think Purdy stepped up. He threw a couple of pretty good dimes out there. That was impressive. We'll see if he can do that the remainder of the season. But the way I look at the Niners is the way I look at Edison High School, or like any other high school that's got a ton of athletes. Right, your quarterback is average. He's not really the best player, so you just dump it off to the best guy and just let him do work. They're athletes. He's got the Niners have athletes all across the board, from their offensive line, the receivers, the running backs, their defensive
Right.
line. Their weakest spot really is their secondary,
Mm-hmm.
but all across the board, they're just doing abnormal things. They're just kind of taking over games off of pure athleticism, and I think that's what Kyle Shanahan's doing really well. Is just give it to those guys. There's no magic behind it, right? It's just
Right.
throw it 7-8 yards, give it to them, give it to the good guys, and then every once in a while, when Purdy needed to, he threw a dime in there.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think, OC? Do you think it was the Niners' offense just sticking to those fundamentals, or were Miami's defense that bad?
Um, I think a lot of it had to do with Miami's defense because there was
Mm-hmm.
times where the end Bradley Chubb was supposed to hold the C gap contain
Mm-hmm.
on a zone read run because there's going to be a cutback and this dude's
Right.
completely just getting washed down the line, and so here comes Jordan Mason or Christian McCaffrey going for 10 yards a pop before they even get contact
Mm-hmm.
because there was the line of scrimmage was definitely the difference,
Right.
and the Niners I felt like dominated both sides of that. Um, and then to credit Purdy, he when he needed to make throws, there was a couple times on third down where he made some crucial throws to Debo and to George Kittle, where he made a big throw that kept the drive alive and kept the
Mm-hmm.
chains moving. And so that I think that played a big factor too for them. But
Right. And it's so much different seeing the game in person, right? Where you get to see like the little things like that where you don't see on TV, where you see like Bradley Chubb not doing his job and holding his gap contained, and like he like comes inside or something. Or I think there was one play where like the entire defense just like over pursued, and like Christian McCaffrey has that little cutback lane.
well,
Um,
there was a big I seen it live. There was a
mhm.
big fourth down. It was 4th and 1, and Brock Purdy goes quarterback sneak, and it
Right.
looks like Miami has him dead in the right that stopped, and Purdy just keeps his feet moving, and Eric Rowe, the safety, is in the box, and he's just like watching the pile,
Mm,
and here goes Purdy that picks up an extra yard and a half, and there
right.
goes the drive, and they chew up
Mm,
another 2-3 minutes off the clock.
right.
So little things like that. It was kind of like a lot of effort based stuff.
Mhm. So let's talk a little bit about San Francisco, and let's talk about Miami and where they go from here. And they got the Los Angeles Chargers coming up when it's that game got flexed. So we actually get a primetime game with some decent quarterbacks, not like this last couple weeks. Um, but do you think Miami's still in a good spot to go ahead and just run the table and maybe try to get a good playoff spot?
For sure, they
Hmm.
have to win Sunday, right?
Right.
Um, and then they have kind of a bit of a gauntlet because they're at the Bills,
Hmm.
which got also flexed into a Saturday night game the
Oh,
week after that.
nice.
So they'll go at San Francisco, at LA, at Buffalo. It's kind
Mm.
of you need at least one or two of these this week. You can't lose all
Hmm.
three.
Right.
The Niners loss doesn't sting as much because it's an NFC loss, so it doesn't
Hmm.
really hurt you in the conference standings if it were to come down to a tiebreaker.
Hmm.
But they need this one against LA,
Right.
because I mean, you beat Buffalo already, you got the split, but if you can beat them again, then you have the 2 wins over them, so
Hmm.
that would be crucial too. And then you have Christmas Day, they have the Packers, and then they end with the Patriots and the Jets. So
Right.
they need at least 3 wins. 11 and 6 will probably get you in right now.
Mm.
So they need at least 3 more wins. So I
Right.
look at this week as a must win, and then obviously either beating the Packers, Jets, and Patriots because I don't know, Buffalo's kind of on a roll right now, so I'm not gonna chalk that up as a win right now.
Hmm. Drew, what do you think? Do you think OC runs the risk of going to SoFi and giving more bad juju to Tua, or do you think he
Uh,
should just stay home and let him ride this one out?
uh, I think you should go. I'd go. Um, I think there's been a lot of debate between Tua and Herbert and who's the dude and who's not the dude.
Hmm.
And OC and I are in the same boat that Herbert's not the dude yet. He's not. He will be the dude. I think he's got the skill to do it, but I think that everyone's kind of blaming everything other than Herbert over there. And he's good. He's just not that good. I think if I'm flipping a coin between the two quarterbacks, who would I rather have? I'd take Tua over Herbert right now. So
Why?
with that being said, I think OC goes the game. It's a huge game. I'm sure there's going to be a good a Dolphin fan presence there because the Chargers they can't sell out their own stadium.
All their games are
They're
away
they're
games.
they're, they're away games. So I think the Dolphins bounce back, and I think they bounce back and they actually do make a good run at that AFC East. I think it just comes down to that game against the Bills. I think the winner of that game is going to win the division. So I don't know. I'd go.
Now let's talk about San Francisco. And do you guys think, because I mean they're sitting in a pretty good spot right now. They're leaders of their division only by one game ahead of Seattle. Do you think they should be in kind of a little bit of a panic mode without Jimmy G, or do you think they're fine with Purdy? Do you think they should just go ahead and just roll with the kid? What do you guys think?
I don't think that they're quite in panic mode. I think that there's a lot of questions. But at the same time, you kind of got to understand that Jimmy G was the reason why the Niners were good this year. So putting in a backup quarterback isn't going to hinder it that much. I do think where you start to panic a little bit is if they don't win the division, now they're on the road. And there's a big difference between hosting a playoff game and being on the road for a playoff game. So it is important. You still need to have a good finish at the end of the season because you're looking more at just making playoffs, right? You want to make sure you have that home game. That's the only thing that I would be a little concerned about. Fortunately, you still have that game lead, and you swept the Seahawks this year, right? They've already beat them twice.
No, I
They
believe
swept the Rams,
They
right?
got him once.
no. We
yeah.
got one. We got one more at Seattle, and then one more at Arizona. Or no, the Arizona game is at home. Sorry.
Okay,
So we still got we still got two more division games.
I wouldn't be concerned about the Arizona game. I think that they're going to start shutting things down pretty soon. When's that Seahawks game? Because that's going to determine a lot.
That's actually the 2 weeks out. So upcoming they got the Bucks at home, which the Bucks, you never know with them. You never know which Buccaneers team you're going to get, and then they have to travel at Seattle, which is always a tough place to play. And then Geno Smith, he bounced back pretty good this week, beating the Rams. And then they got the Commanders at home, which again you never know with the Commanders. Taylor Heineke could be making plays. They're at at Las Vegas. Again, there you never know with Derek Carr and Devontae Adams. And then that's when they receive the Cardinals at home. So it's not like. It's not like they have a stretch of easy games.
Yeah, it's not a cakewalk, that's for sure.
But they're winnable games.
They're winnable games. They're games that with Jimmy G, who's been the guy for the last couple of years, I would say that those are pretty comfortable games for them to win. Just because Brock is a third string quarterback now, you just have some questions.
Right.
But I still think that the Niners pull it out.
OC, what do you think? You think Purdy has what it takes to kind of steer the ship in the right direction, or do you think he's eventually we're going to see some rookie mistakes?
I think eventually he'll come back down to earth. I mean, the Dolphins' defense was pretty terrible on Sunday, and you got one of the better defenses coming in on Sunday with the Bucks.
Right.
So he's gonna have his hiccups. He's a third string quarterback for a reason. But there's nothing to lose at this point. Like you're on your third string quarterback. No one, I don't think in their right mind would have been like, hey, the Niners, you're going to have the division lead in December, but you're going to be with your third string quarterback.
Right.
With the guy who got drafted last in the draft.
And your quarterbacks go out with like freak injuries too. It's just that they're not common injuries. Yeah.
But it's like the kid came in and he was never fazed by Miami at all. He just, I think he threw the ball 37 times.
Right.
And
Jesus.
so it's like he's gonna sling it, like they may be dump offs and check downs, but at least he's taking them, And
he made some pretty good throws like over the middle. I think there was tight little windows where I would have been nervous to throw into. Like I know Jimmy G would have been nervous to throw into.
Yeah, he did.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, he did throw a pick to Xavier Howard, but he left that ball on the inside.
Right.
So it was kind of like he just needs
and it was
to
on a
place that
fourth
ball.
down too.
Yeah, he just needs to place that
Mm.
ball a little bit higher where only his guy can get it.
Mm.
But yeah, he made some smart throws in congested windows. I actually think this Sunday is probably going to be a potential playoff matchup in that second round because
Right.
San Francisco will probably get that first home game. So will Tampa with the
Mm.
way their divisions look. And if both of them win, they could be matching up against each other in that second round.
Right. So yeah.
Do you
So
know who
we'll.
Tampa's going to play in the first round?
Projected right now, probably
Yeah,
Dallas.
Dallas.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll give you another opportunity to wear the bag, Drew. Just relax. You get your shot.
If
Um,
OC didn't wear the bag, I ain't wearing the bag. Fuck that.
let's go ahead. Let's talk about Dallas, dude, and how close they were to signing Odell, right? Because on the field this week they took care of business. I mean, it was the Colts. Jeff Saturday waved the white flag and went out, took a knee. Like at that point, I was even watching until you guys text me. Then he went out to take a knee.
I've never seen that. Have you guys ever seen that before? A
I
losing
saw
tank, losing
maybe once
team.
or twice. Yeah,
I
I've seen
saw
it before.
what Thursday night where Bill Belichick had 3 timeouts left against the Bills, and just decided to not take him at all because he was done with
Right,
it.
he
And
was just done
they
with it.
asked him, yeah, they asked him about it, and he said, "I wasn't gonna put my guys at risk of injury when the game was
Right.
already out of
They
hand."
still ran plays though, right? Just a couple of little draws or something like that. I
No,
mean,
they took 3 knees with 2 minutes left, and the
oh,
Patriots didn't take any of
oh,
their
they
three
did.
timeouts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh, but they didn't have the ball. I thought
Yeah,
you were
no,
no,
talking
no,
about that
no.
they
the
had the
Bills
ball.
had the
No,
ball.
the
The
Bills
Bills
had the ball.
Oh, well, okay, yeah, that's one thing. That I've seen before. What I haven't seen is a losing quarterback
Right.
go into victory formation. I was laughing pretty hard.
When you're on offense and then you've kind of just go out there and just go belly
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Yeah,
Just like,
I've
like,
never seen that. I
we're
haven't
not
seen
going
that
to turn the
before.
ball over for the sixth
I
time.
might have seen it before, probably not in the NFL. I think I might have seen it in college and in high school, but I don't think ever in the NFL. That was kind of weird to see, especially on a Sunday night primetime game in front of the entire country. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was weird. But yeah, let's talk about how they almost signed Odell, and then it kind of seems like they kind of left the deal on the table. It kind of seems. I guess
Yeah.
Odell's knee injury hasn't fully healed. Is that what I'm hearing?
So you know I don't know if you guys saw like the Cowboys went full like college mode on Odell, right? And it was a college visit. They took him to the Dallas Mavericks game. They had meetings with them. Dez took him out to dinner last night, and it was like, oh, it's a whole recruiting thing that you see in college. And
Did they
then
take
like
him to an adult gentleman's club? Maybe
maybe I don't know.
colleges do that.
So Dez posted a little receipt of the dinner. You can't tell that OBJ's there. I'm assuming he's there. Dez was with him at the game, but it was 20 grand. It was like just under $20,000 when they went out to dinner. So I mean, yeah, they're courting him, right? They want him bad. And then Jerry Jones kind of comes out today and is like, we got more meetings with Odell, but you know, we're more concerned about the strength in his knee right now. And then a few other reports kind of came out that Odell's looking like he's not gonna like he's kind of implying I'll be ready for game one of the playoffs. And I don't think the Cowboys are very like thrilled about that. And they're like, the fuck you mean game one of the playoffs? We need you warmed up and greased up and kind of ready to go before the playoffs. So when we roll into the playoffs, you're good, you know. So Jerry Jones at that point just kind of made it seem like, if that's the case, we might be out. And then when you look at it, it's like, hey, assuming Odell doesn't want to retire after this season, he's got to play this year, right? Like he has to go into next year to renegotiate contracts as a free agent. And what are people going to look at? What are they going to use as reference? He's going to be a 30-year-old off of 2 ACL surgeries.
Right.
Like he needs to prove himself in order to get a contract next year. So I think he's got to play. And if he's trying to sit out until playoffs, not too many teams are out there. They're going to take the risk, right? Why are you going to pay a guy, $1.7 million, $2 million, whatever the minimum is, for you to play maybe one game guaranteed? It's not really worth it. So that's kind of what I saw out there in the news today, and I kind of I was pretty high on, hey, we're going to sign Odell. after Sunday night, and I just dropped straight back down to earth. And it's like, you know what? I'm just gonna expect that we don't get Odell.
But I mean, do you guys even need him at this point? The way C.D. Lamb is playing, the way Gallup is playing,
There,
Schultz is playing. Do you guys really need him?
do we need him? No. Is it gonna put us over the top? Yes. I think we've talked about it before. Most teams in the NFL, when they make a really good Super Bowl run, they win the conference and they go to the Super Bowl. They make moves this time of the year or at the trade deadline that put them over the top. You know, when the Rams did it with they did last year with OBJ, they did with Von Miller. The Cowboys didn't really make that move this year, and so I was thinking this was the move. This is what's going to put him over the top. It's going to open up CD a lot more. If you really watch CD right now, they have him in motion a lot. He's running a lot of plays
Right.
that are really out of the slot, rather the wideout position. And I said it before this last season. That's where CD thrives. He's not a wideout guy. He's more of a like a Debo guy. Let me catch it 8 yards out
Right.
and make someone miss a tackle, and now I just gained 17 yards.
Right.
And Odell brings that aspect where he can play wide, and CD can stay in the slot where he's a little bit more comfortable running through the middle of the field. Just little things like that, I think, is a huge bonus that he would have brought. Do we need that? No. It would be really, really nice to have. It's like a safety blanket.
OC, what do you think, man? Do you think a team should take a chance on Odell or just let him ride it out?
I honestly think once I saw the reports that came out this morning about him, I just immediately thought this guy knew he wasn't probably gonna play until next year, so
Right.
he's out here just like garnering attention, so he stays relevant and no one forgets his name. That way,
Right.
people can like be like, oh, well, all these teams wanted OBJ, so maybe we should take a look at him during the off season, you know. But usually like when you tear a knee ligament, whether it's MCL or ACL, it's pretty hard to come back from within a year, you know.
It's
Especially when
usually a calendar year, right? He tore it in February. Yeah.
they tore it in the Super Bowl. That's why when they said
Right.
that he was gonna be back halfway through the year, I even told Andrew, I was like, "There's no way this guy comes anything, he comes back anything sooner than Thanksgiving. Like there is
Right.
no way. Like these injuries usually last a year, especially with rehab and everything. So I just think like it's all a show, so he can stay relevant to where he can garner enough attention to where he can use it to get a new contract for whatever team he decides to play for next year. And like Andrew said, once they figured out that his knee wasn't fully healthy, like why do you want a guy for potentially only 1 or 2 games?
Right.
Like you need him to hit the ground running. Like you can't have someone just show up a divisional round or wild card round and expect you to carry you to victory,
Right.
you know?
Do you guys think then Jerry Jones is going to send Odell a bill for $20,000 then? Just dude.
Dez
No.
might.
Dez might, but I'm sure Jerry Jones will take care of Dez.
Yeah, that's what's like. Are you going to reimburse me? I'll leave my receipt right here. Oh, he pulls a Michael Scott here. I'll take care of that for you. Yeah. Just throws it away. Let's go ahead. Let's go into the next guy, I guess, who drew a little bit of attention this week, and that's Deshaun Watson, making his homecoming return to Dallas or to Houston, in front of 10 alleged accusers or whatever. For whatever reason, they were invited to the game. Didn't perform all that well. Was that kind of expected, or do you think the Browns should be a little worried?
I wouldn't be worried if I was the Browns. I mean, he hasn't played in 2 years. He's probably a little stiff. Hasn't got a massage in a while, so I'm gonna assume that this rest is gonna come off pretty soon.
The dude's probably all backed up. It's been months.
He's got so many knots in his back. I see what you did there, backed up.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be fine. Deshaun Watson, when he was playing in the NFL, he was by far hands down top 10 quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
So I think he can come back to who he was. It's just knocking some rough stuff. You know you can't go 2 years and not play a game in the NFL and then just come out and fucking ball. Like you got to crawl before you can run.
Right. OC, what do you think, man? Did you watch any of the performance at all?
I seen. I was at the game. We were tailgating, and then it just kept popping up, like the highlights and stuff.
Yeah.
So I saw how he threw that pick in the end zone. They said he
Right.
threw a dart. but to the opposite team. And then he had a fumble, right? It just slipped out of his hand. It was weird. And then I'm looking at his stat line. He was only 12 of 22. So he had what? No touchdowns, and he threw that one pick in the end zone.
Right.
But like you guys said, like he'll be fine. It's a new system. It's a new team. Stefanski will get him going. I think this year is just. I think the playoffs are kind of a far stretch right now, especially with them being 2 games under 500.
Right.
But maybe they could just get the ball rolling and get some reps in where he could get comfortable with the offense enough to where he can run it in the off season
Right.
and just hit the ball rolling for next year.
Yeah, because he couldn't even practice with them up until like a couple weeks ago, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, he
he's probably up there kind of greasing up his elbow because you know how much work he's been getting with that. But yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of just too soon to tell. I don't think necessarily you can say like, oh, you should be worried about him and the Browns. But I mean, it's also kind of a stretch to kind of say that he'll be back to his old self. I feel like, I mean, because the NFL, moves so fast and the game changes so fast. Do you guys think we'll get to see like some of the old Deshaun Watson, or do you think his best years are behind him, football wise?
No, I think we can still see some of the old Deshaun Watson.
Mm-hmm.
He was pretty impressive without um, a whole lot of help other than D Hop and JJ Watt, and JJ Watt wasn't even on the offense.
Right.
So I think with some better weapons over there in Cleveland, we can see some glimpses of the old Deshaun Watson. What OC was saying is, I think the rest of this year is just a little like preseason for him. Knock off all the rust, get used to the offense, probably experiment a little bit, figure out what he likes, get on the same page, and then you're probably going to see him, go through the system all off season. And by the time season starts next year, I think he's going to be 100%.
What do you think, OC?
Yeah, yeah. I think that this year is kind of like a wash for them. Maybe if they were like 7-5 instead of 5-7, they could get on a run towards the
Right.
end. But I think at this point it's kind of just like let's get him as many reps as we can, run as much stuff as we can with the playbook, see what he can handle, see what he likes, what he doesn't like,
Right.
and just move on from there. Because I think their schedule isn't tough, but it's like you're kind of you would have to literally win out to even have a chance, You would have to win 5 straight. So
Right.
they're at the Bengals, who the Bengals are red hot right now.
They're rolling right
And
now
then they
after
go
the win against the Chiefs. Yeah.
the Ravens game, if Lamar's not back, that's a winnable game. Then they have the Saints at home, then they go to Washington and to Pittsburgh. So I mean, they have like a maybe like a I don't know, like a slim hope, but I think at this
Right.
point it's just like get Deshaun as comfortable as you can within the offenses till
Right.
then.
Right. Chop it up and then probably get some more weapons for him in the offseason if they can afford it. We'll see how it goes. Let's go from one quarterback to another, I guess, former Browns quarterback, and let's talk about Baker Mayfield for a little bit and how he pretty much does a demand a release, right, out of Carolina, and got just picked up by the Rams today. Do you guys think is this his last shot to maybe, I guess, showcase himself to potentially get a starting spot somewhere else next year?
Yeah, that's all this is, right? I mean, Stafford's their guy in LA, so this is just a little temporary thing for them just to try and save face and be able to sell some tickets the rest of the season. Because Stafford's done. Like, there's no point. What
Right.
they said
They're
he'd
not
be
coming
back
back.
week 17. Why? What's the point?
Right.
You guys are out. No Cooper Cup. I mean, he's probably done for the season. There's no point in trying. So to sell some tickets, you got to kind of get a little flashy guy in there. And it's big for Baker because, like you said, it's going to determine whether or not he's going to have a contract on a team next year. And I don't think it'll be a contract to start anywhere. I think he's had his chances, unless he does something absolutely miraculous in these next 6 games or whatever it is. I think he's probably just going to be another backup quarterback.
Yeah, because from what I heard that he was the Rams were the only team to inquire him, right? That they're
Yeah.
the only team going after him. OC, what do you think? You think he's about done after this year and just kind of just roll as a backup for the rest of his career?
I think we talked about this when the whole situation happened right before the year started when they
Right.
traded him to Carolina. I told you
Mm-hmm.
guys he's not the guy. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's he's a system guy at Oklahoma. He was throwing the 5-star receivers, and even at when he was with the Browns, like he had issues getting the ball to his guys,
Right.
and they tried to make the offense as simple as possible, and he was still messing it up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so like I thought Sam Darnold was the better guy in Carolina, but somehow he
Mm-hmm.
beat him out and then ends up getting cut, or he asked for his release and then he got it. But I'm not gonna waste my time on Baker Mayfield
Ozzy
like the
says we're done
Panthers.
with this
He's
topic.
down with that guy. Um, just one more question. Do you guys think it was just a complete mistake going to Carolina? Do you think he would have been better off staying in Cleveland and just riding out the last year of his deal or whatever, and then seeing whatever comes out of free agency?
Uh, no, because the environment was bad. I don't think he was gonna play. I think they're gonna play Brissett no matter what, and he would have just been pouting on the sidelines, kind of like he was doing in
Right.
Carolina. At least with Carolina, they gave him a shot. I don't think he had a shot in Cleveland. The way that everything ended over there,
Right.
Cleveland was kind of done with him,
Mhm.
so he was just going to be keeping the bench warm. Um, and you know what's crazy? It's not like he was like a legend for the Browns, right? I mean, he won one or two playoff games in a couple of different seasons,
Just one.
and that's
Right.
it. And so there was no reason for him to stay. It's not like he had ties to Cleveland, um, where it would have been tough for them to
Right.
let him go. It was just all bad. He needed to get out of there, give himself a shot somewhere else.
I think the best that came out of Baker Mayfield in Cleveland was probably those progressive commercials because those commercials were fire. It's just you guys remember those "This Is My House" commercials?
Yeah, if he was still a Brown, then someone would have broke into their stadium, right? Because he would have been there guarding
Yeah,
the,
I
the,
guess
the
protecting
gates.
it.
I think
Let's.
Hold on. I think Baker's
Okay.
best option is it's either the CFL or the XFL season with the Rock is gonna start, so he could go try one of those.
You can go play with
Right.
Johnny Manziel.
That's what I was gonna say in the fan control football league.
Yeah, one of those because I mean it's not working out if he's over there asking for him to be released.
Yeah,
I
I think
wonder.
what had happened was he came out as the QB3 on the depth chart and was like, nah,
I'm out.
nah,
So
nah,
like him and
cut
Sam
me.
Darnold are going back and forth for that number 2 spot or what? Or is Sam
No,
Darnold starting now?
no, I
Sam
think
Darnold
Walker.
started.
I thought I
Darnold
thought
started against the Patriots.
I think
Right.
they said that Walker though after this week was back to QB1, and then Darnold QB2, and then Baker QB3, and he's like,
No,
how
it
about
was
you
the
guys just
punter.
cut me?
The punter was QB3 probably.
Bunner was QB3.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh
jeez.
man, it's just I think he made a huge mistake by going over there. Even if he would have been a bench player over in Cleveland, at least I think he would have saved some face without garnishing this such negative attention, right? Because he kind of instead of taking it to the chin when they went ahead and they actually traded for Deshaun Watson, he took it like a bitch, right? Like he just like
Hmm.
straight up the butt and didn't want to save face at all. Like with this farewell speech that he gave before any deal was actually finalized or anything like that. If he would have just saved face, stayed there, he wouldn't have gotten such negative attention and potentially maybe gotten another deal right somewhere else. But now who knows? If only one team's going after you got released just because the Rams were, I guess, trying to salvage whatever they can from this season, maybe money wise, that's probably not a good look, right? Like
Hmm.
nobody wants to bring you in even to be their backup, right? I mean, the Niners signed Josh Johnson before they signed your ass, so we'll see what
I
happens.
honestly think that LA just did him a favor to bring him in so he could
Right?
film more commercials in LA.
Is Baker just going to be an influencer from here on out? Might as well.
Yeah,
I
Number
thought
one money though.
number one draft pick to number one influencer.
that
You
was
won't even be number one influencer, dude.
I thought it was a little bit of like a petty pick. The more I thought about it, like maybe the Rams were just trying to make some money. I thought they were just doing it so hopefully the Niners wouldn't pick him up off the waiver.
That could have been it too. They could have been. I mean, it could have been a combination of all three. You never know. Um, I guess just try to bring a big name guy to try to sell some tickets, and then you're throwing him a bone. I mean, you might as well. The rest of your season's pretty much done, and then you kind of screw over a rival that kind of screwed you over earlier this year.
Yeah. I
with
think there
taking
was
McCaffrey.
I think there was also like an article that talked about McVay, how much he before the draft loved Baker and knew he wouldn't get Baker, but that he was a big fan of Baker Mayfield. So yeah, maybe it is just throwing him a bone.
Maybe just a little something. We got I guess is highly anticipated matchup. The Raiders at the Rams for a Thursday night game. Who do you guys got?
Raiders are rolling, baby. They got 3 in a row.
I'm taking my boy Devontae Adams.
Devontae Adams. Yeah, I'll take the Raiders on this one. I mean, it should be entertaining enough, right? What getting to see that matchup of Adams and Ramsey, that'll be interesting. Let's go ahead. Let's move on to the next game, the flex game. I'm actually thankful that the NFL decided to go ahead, put 2 decent quarterbacks up against each other, and I have to watch the crap that we watched last week.
Who was the original game?
OC, do you know? I don't even know who the original game was.
I don't know who it was supposed to be.
Was it Chiefs and Broncos?
It was had to do Denver. Oh my god.
It was another Mahomes show.
Yeah, it would have been just Mahomes all day. Let's go Dolphins at the Los Angeles Chargers. Who you guys got?
Fins up, baby.
Let's go Miami with the bounce back. Come on.
Say it. Take him. Pick Justin Herbert. Just do it. Suck his dick already. No, because I know you.
No, fuck it, dude. I'll take just for that. Yeah, I'll take the Chargers. The Chargers at home. Okay. I think the Dolphins are gonna just go belly up or what is it? Ass up, fins down.
Ass up, fins down. Fins up, baby.
Let's go to the Monday night game and this highly anticipated matchup with Mac Jones and Kyle Murray, the Patriots at the Cardinals. Another fantastic Monday night football.
These Monday night games have fucking sucked all
ESPN.
year. They've been so bad.
Who you guys got?
Where's a coin? Do I got a coin around here?
This is literally, they have the Patriots favored by a point. Give me the Cardinal. Give me the home team.
You'll take the home team? Drew?
Is Kyler playing?
They had the week off.
Yes, Kyler's playing. Yeah.
Kyler still has not won a game since October.
Interesting.
I'm gonna go with Bill Belichick, the Patriots.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Bill Belichick and the Patriots. I think Arizona's defense is just that bad. They've just played terrible. I mean, it's not
Buda Baker.
I mean, Buda Baker's maybe the outlier for that defense, but
he's not
else,
even.
Isaiah Simmons has
been like shit.
Ass. Yeah, everybody there's been ass, and then J.J. Watt's been completely disappointing there. I mean, he's added zero value to that defense over there.
He really should have gone anywhere else.
Literally anywhere else other than Arizona.
Anywhere else.
All right. Well, I think that's about it, man. Anything else you guys want to add? Just cut it out.
I think that just about covers it.
Sounds good to me, man.
Oh,
Go ahead, close us out.
That's pretty much it.
All right. Thanks again, everyone, for watching, listening. Hopefully you made it through the entire thing and didn't watch just the 30 seconds in the beginning. Make sure you smash that like and subscribe button, and we'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
See you guys.